Hi! So I love books, of course, and I love films and TV shows. So when a book is adapted into a film or a TV show, I'm all over it. I'm often worried that it's not going to be very good, but that's a whole different story. I might go into that another time. So today I thought I would share some of the books that I think would work really well as a film or a TV show, or maybe even a stage show in some of the cases. So the first one is The Christmas Oris by Tom Fletcher. The Christmas Oris is about a little boy called William Trundle who kind of makes friends with a dinosaur that he calls the Christmas Oris. And it's just such a cute Christmas story. I've just been flicking through this again and I'm already excited to read it. Like, I want it to be December already so I can read this again. I just love it so much. Tom Fletcher has actually signed it in the front, wishing me Merry Christmas, because I told him that I'm going to read it every single year from now on. Even when I'm 65, I'm still going to be reading The Christmas Oris in December. So in the UK, every Christmas, the BBC release a new Christmas film, like a family Christmas film, usually based on a book, or a lot of the time is picture books. So like Julia Donaldson, The Gruffalo they did a while ago. They did The Highway Rat last year. I think The Christmas Oris would be amazing as one of those, like a really cute animation. Even if it's just like an hour long, like a short animated film that they would show around Christmas or like on Christmas Day. That would be amazing. Like, I would watch that every single Christmas. I read this book every Christmas anyway. So if that could be a Christmas film that I could just watch every single year, that would be perfect. So next is another book that would be a good children's film, and that is Gelik by David Almond. This one is about a boy he's moved into a new house with his parents. He's in primary school, I think, and he finds a creature that I kind of imagine to look a bit like Creature from Harry Potter. This creature lives in the shed outside in their garden. I read this a couple of months ago and I just loved it. And straight away I could imagine it as kind of a slightly darker kids film, like maybe kind of an older kids film. I'm thinking kind of like a Monster Calls. It has a lot of the same vibes as a Monster Calls, and I think it would work so well as a kids film. For some reason I think it's kind of like the fantasy elements give me like Bridge to Terabithia vibes, and I love that film. Like, that worked so well as a film, and I feel like if this had the same sort of magical atmosphere to it as like the Bridge to Terabithia or films that are similar to that, this could work really well. So next up I've got Meat Market by Juno Dawson. This one is about a teenager who is scouted to become a model, and it's all about the kind of the dark side of the fashion industry and the kind of sexual abuse and the power, kind of the higher up power that comes along with it. And it's just kind of like her life kind of spirals downwards when she's an international model. This, straight away when I read it, I thought it would be amazing as, at first I thought a film. I'm now kind of thinking it would be really cool as a TV series. So like a kind of grungy teen TV series. I think this would work so well. Some of the elements, like the darker elements of skins and things that have come out recently, like Euphoria with Zendaya. This, I think, would work so well. It's got those kind of grungy teen aspects that I think would work really well as like a darker teen TV series. Full Disclosure is the next one by Cameron Garrett, and this is one that I read recently and I reviewed it on my channel actually recently. I adored it so much, it's turned into one of my favourite books straight away. So this is about a girl called Simone, and she's HIV positive, and she goes to a high school where she kind of keeps it quiet, like only her best friends know about it, and beyond that she doesn't want to tell anyone about it because it kind of ruined her in her last school when people found out. So she helps direct the school production of Rent, and that becomes a really big part of the story. And I would kind of be intrigued to see this as a stage show. I don't know how that would work, but I'm just thinking there's so many musical theatre elements in this that it would be so cool to see the story kind of mixed in with so many musical elements and like dance numbers and stuff. But at the same time, it could also work as like a teen film. I'm thinking along the lines of things like To All the Boys I Loved Before, where they're kind of the Netflix original teen films. This would work so well in amongst those. I can picture it already. Like I can picture how great it would look as a film, and the plot just works perfectly, and it would also be amazing for representation. Like there's so much rep in this, so much diversity. So as a film, this would be incredible. Next I've got Artemis by Andy Weir. The Martian is one of my favourite books and one of my favourite films. So that for me is like one of the best book to film adaptations, because I think they included pretty much everything. There's like a couple of things in the book that didn't make it into the film, but they weren't that important to like move the story along. So in terms of like the actual story, the film was perfect and I loved it. So I think that if they turned Artemis into a film too, it could be really promising. So if you're not sure what this is about, Artemis is the first city on the moon. So people have started to live on the moon, and the population is like a couple of thousand. And there's a whole criminal kind of smuggling operation going on in Artemis, and our main character is kind of at the centre of that, and it's all about her being part of this big criminal operation. It's so cool, like it mixes so many different elements, and it's set on the moon, which is just really different, like it's just so cool. So I think it would work really well as like an adult sci-fi film, just like The Martian. And then my final one is The Loneliest Girl in the Universe by Lauren James. Again, this would work perfectly as a sci-fi film, but like a young adult sci-fi. So this is about Romy, who is the only surviving crew member on a spaceship heading for a new planet. So she used to be on it with her parents, and they aren't around anymore. There's a big story behind it. She then hears that a second spaceship has been launched, and it has a single passenger on board. Their only communication is via email, but it takes ages and ages for emails to be sent back and forth. The story is just one of my favourites. This is one of my favourite books because the twists in it are just ridiculous. Like, I've said so many times that I don't know how Lauren James thinks of so many twists, because her books are always packed full of them. And I just love them so much. So for that, I feel like it could be a film that has you on the edge of your seat for the entire thing, because it would be so tense, and I feel like it would be the kind of shock factor that would make people gasp at the end of the film. Oh, this would just be so good. I feel like out of all of these that I've mentioned, this out of anything would just be the best one, because like just simply for how the shock factor and how much the twists would just be so good. I feel like it would be the kind of thing where I'd be sitting in the cinema watching it, waiting to see what other people's reactions are who haven't read the book. So I had a couple of others I was going to mention, but they're ones that already are in the works, I think. So there's the Scythe trilogy by Neil Shusterman, would be amazing, but that is already optioned for film. Another one is the Chaos Walking trilogy, which is coming out next year, and that is starring Tom Holland and Daisy Ridley. And then the other one is Heartstopper, the graphic novels by Alice Oseman. And I think they've already been picked up for TV. So let me know if you've got any that I didn't mention. Mention them in the comments, and I'd love to see what you think would work really well, either as a film or as a TV show, or even as like a stage show. And I will see you soon for a new video. Bye!